Hey there, y'all. It's been a little while. Sorry, life has been just like so crazy. I am sitting here right now at my son's soccer practice, and this is literally the only time I have been able to find in the last 2 weeks to take some time to myself and to make a video. So I just thought I'd do a little check-in, a little chat about how school's been going so far. We just finished our first break. So quick explanation, we always do 4 to 5 weeks on, and then we do a week where we do 2 shorter days, and then the last 3 days of the week plus the weekend are completely off and free. So we just finished our first off week of the year. We did 4 weeks to start the year. We just started our new on block. We call them blocks. And we will be going 5 weeks before that half week. So I thought it was a good time to do a check-in. That first 4 weeks was really just kind of a build-up to how the whole year was going to be. We started really slow. If you saw our first day of school, day in the life, we really started with just like one subject on that first day. The second day was the same. We built up to 2 subjects. Slowly, the next week, we added in a couple subjects. The third week was when we really hit all our subjects in one day. And then, so for the third and fourth week, we were at full steam, and then we got to take a little bit of a break. So it was good. It was good to see kind of like the plans that I had, what needed to change, what like really ended up working. And so there were a few things. So I'm gonna touch on some of that as well. Sorry, I keep glancing over to see what my son's doing. So this was kind of a rough start to our school year. If you saw that first day, I told you, my youngest that's in school right now got called in for a dentist appointment on that first day. And then the next day, my oldest had a doctor's appointment. He broke his arm at the beginning of the school year. He had a checkup to check how that was going. And then the second week of school, that youngest had to go back in for a cavity filling twice, because they did it one day, and then like a few days later they did the other. He had 2 cavities. So that filled up, plus my other 2 boys had dentist appointments at the same time, luckily, but still on that day. Then, to cap it all off, during that second week of school, my 3rd grader fell off the playground. He went with my aunt, and he fell, and he hurt his knee. Turns out he did break it, and he ended up having surgery. So he had surgery on the Friday of our 4th week of school. So he is still kind of in recovery from that. He's doing really good. But let's just say our first 4 weeks was just really full of kind of stop and start. Lots of dentist appointments, lots of doctor's appointments, lots of time spent moving where we were doing school because he couldn't get up and down the stairs very well. And we do most of our school downstairs. So luckily, we told him, very luckily, he is in homeschool, because it really stinks to go to school on crutches. Both me and my husband have done it multiple times. So we, told him how lucky he was not to go to school with crutches, and not have to worry about feeling like we had to get him sent back into school as soon as possible after his surgery. So that was our first week of school. And it was crazy and hectic, and not really how I planned on starting the first week, but we did what we could. So that was one point that made me feel like, okay, maybe that was really one of the reasons why we're homeschooling this year, because that was coming up. Another thing is that our middle schools, which my oldest is in middle school now, and our high schools have gone to digital this year already. And I did not want to deal with digital learning. So I am once again so happy that we chose to homeschool again. and glad that we had a good experience last year so that I can continue this process throughout this time period. Let's see. The only extracurricular we've started is this soccer. Luckily, I didn't actually sign my third grader up for anything. I kept postponing because I was waiting to get my son's soccer schedule before I signed him up, so I knew like what days we were free. And I haven't signed my kindergartner up for anything yet either. We'll see. I may sign him up for tennis later in this semester, but for now, this is all we're doing, which is good. Okay, as for how schooling went, a couple of things. So I obviously planned out our schedule. I planned out how I thought our flow was going to go for the year. So I took what worked last year. Last year we tried multiple different permutations. So I just took what had worked for us at the end of the school year, and it worked beautifully, and it was wonderful, and we loved it. Knowing I was going to be sticking my kindergartner in and just kind of plugging him into like where I thought I had some holes, and knowing, because it's something that I definitely learned last year, knowing that that was probably going to change and it probably wasn't going to work, because flexibility is so key in homeschooling. I've noticed I can't be rigid. I can't. So I'm really glad I learned that, because I didn't hold on to it very long. By the time we started that third week of school, I already knew something needed to change. So we spent about 2 days in with all of our subjects in the schedule I had planned, and I said, this is not going to work. And I completely flipped it upside down on its head backwards, and that has worked beautifully so far. School goes a little longer than I would like, but mostly I just need to get used to that, because my son is in 6th grade now, which means he has more subjects, and his subjects take a little longer. Plus, I have my kindergartner in there. So they get plenty of breaks while they're waiting for their next subject to start, plenty of time to play, but it just goes a little long for my taste, and my oldest is kind of constantly working. We're trying to figure out how to hone it down, but I think this schedule is one we're gonna keep for a little while. Let's see, what else is going well or changed this year? Well, math has been a little bit rough. So we use Saxon, and I like it, and I'm not changing that. But my oldest just struggles in math, and he struggles right now. We moved into fractions. He was struggling a little. He took his first test, and he got a 55, which is the lowest score he's ever gotten. And I could just tell he really was not retaining anything that we had learned from fractions last year, and he wasn't getting the new stuff, and we really just needed to kind of start over in the whole process. So we stopped Saxon. I have 2 curriculum that we have turned to that are very luckily free. So The Good and the Beautiful, their new math is free online, the video lessons and the worksheets. So that's one we've been using. I just kind of went through, I said, okay, he needs work on exponents, prime numbers, and fractions. So for a week before our break started, we did exponents and prime numbers using that. And also, I went to Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool, and they go through Khan Academy. So he's been doing the Khan Academy lessons that correlate with it. So he gets to watch 2 video lessons on whatever subject it is, and then he does the work that goes with those. And so he's able to spend a couple of days on each subject instead of just like one day. So he can really get some good work and kind of dive into that subject and sit on it for a little bit, and hopefully it'll stick in his head. This is the second day of our new block, and so he has just started his fraction work. He's done 2 days with The Good and the Beautiful working on reducing fractions. Tomorrow he will do Khan Academy's reducing fractions, and then we will move to common denominators, I think, is what we'll do next. So that is where we are in math. Math is going beautifully with my 3rd grader. He is excelling, but it's still kind of in the review stages. We're not learning anything groundbreaking or new yet. So that's coming, and we will see if it starts moving too fast for him. But he's always been math-minded, and so I think he'll do well. Language arts is going well. We've continued the Good and Beautiful from last year. My 3rd grader is in level 3, which is a little bit advanced for him. And so he struggles a little with the writing, but already after just a month, I'm starting to see improvements in his ability to just structure a sentence. We still go over everything before he writes it. I give him examples of things he can write so he can pull from those. But there's a little less whining already about it, and a little more ability to just sit down and do it. So I like seeing that. For my kindergartner, he is doing great. He loves his math from the Good and Beautiful. He's doing really well. So we are using the reading lesson to start with for the year. The goal is to get through it by Christmas, because he was already partway into it. And now that we're doing it consistently every day instead of just like once or twice a week like we did over the summer, he's really starting to gain ground and really start to read and have more confidence in his reading and enjoy it. He does great. We do a little bit of sight word work, but a lot of those words are kind of worked into this reading lesson. So we just do them, and most of them he's already just picked up through the curriculum. We just practice them. He's also using Explode the Code. We are using the Get Ready, Get Set, Go parts, which is way too low for him, but it's just letting him get a feel for that curriculum. We're already on the 3rd book, and he will finish that up by the end of this block, and he'll be able to move on to level 1 of actually Explode the Code. So he is really loving that. Let's see, what else are we doing? So my oldest, part of what's taking so long is he does have electives now. So he's doing health. He doesn't necessarily love the health, and I mean, it's not a super exciting program by any means. He's just got a textbook that he reads. He answers some review questions every day, and then he gets a test after like a couple weeks. And so that's fine. It's just giving him a basic introduction. He'll also be using the body book for guys or boys when it correlates with the lesson. So I think it's just good for him to get a good introduction into health. But one thing we are doing is that he gets up, along with doing soccer, he gets up 3 days a week early to twice he goes running, and 1 day a week he does some, I don't really want to say weight training, it's mostly body weight training, but more strength training. A lot of leg work, things that we've looked up that will specifically help him with soccer, because that's what he wants to excel at. So we are trying to help him excel and learn how to excel by eating right and working for it instead of just showing up to practice. He's also taking sign language from me. That's not going super great because we're supposed to be doing it with my cousin's kids on Fridays, and we haven't managed to get together once on Fridays. One time we Zoomed. They got COVID, so they were quarantined for like 3 weeks because they have 9 people in their family, and they didn't all get it at the same time, so it just kind of, quarantine kept starting over. So we couldn't go over during that time, so we did Zoom once during that time. And then other times it just hasn't worked. They have just forgotten, or my son had surgery on a Friday, different things like that. So we've only managed to get together in person one time to do a quick lesson. They do have video lessons, but they're also figuring out their own homeschooling and where to fit things in, so that doesn't always take priority. So him and I try and do some things together. I don't want to get too far ahead with him, though, if we end up meeting and doing classes with them. So I don't know where that'll go, but it's very slowly moving forward. They're also supposed to be doing music with my aunt, or my cousin, and that hasn't happened once. We'll get there, hopefully. The one thing that doing these electives has helped with is because he still has that health to do usually in the afternoon, so it makes his school a little bit longer. I do remember to do a little bit of electives with my 3rd grader and kindergartner. So we've done art a couple times, we've done safety a couple times, and that's just been really good because that was one of my goals this year, was to not just forget about those. So the fact that he has electives he has to do helps me remember for them. So that's good. Fridays we are supposed to do more of a fun Friday. Obviously we're supposed to meet with them. We haven't done that much, but one of my goals this year was to make it more fun, incorporate some games. Oh, my camera stopped. Originally my plan for Fridays was to incorporate a lot more games and art projects, and that's been going really well. I've managed to do that. It takes a lot of work on my part. I have to plan out what we want to do, because if I wait and just say, oh yeah, let's play some games, then it's not going to happen. But if I have already chosen like which puzzle I want to do, an art project I want to do, like go ahead and find one on YouTube that we're going to do together. Go ahead and have 4 or 5 games set out, and then that to choose from, then it's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot more, and it's going to be a lot more smooth. It can still be more smooth. There's still more that we can do, but it's going okay. It's going better than last year. I do feel like I am making it more fun and not just it happens, and not just, we don't do anything on Friday. Lastly, the last thing that I wanted to have in our school day but didn't happen are what I call quick hit subjects. Originally I had some little subjects I wanted to do with them. I called them quick hit subjects. I wanted to do a little world geography, I wanted to do some biographies, and I wanted to do some family history. That I took out of our schedule before we even started. I could tell once we added things in going into that 3rd week that I was already feeling stressed. I was already rushing some subjects because I felt like we were running out of time and the days were going long, and I knew that even adding in another 15-minute subject at that time was just not going to work. So I'm still hopeful that some of that can come to fruition. But what has happened is we are doing the memorization work I wanted to do, and we have memorized the states in alphabetical order. Even my kindergartner can do most of it. And so I said, okay, well, world geography is out, so let's do United States geography. And instead of making it this really cool course, we just are going through the states. We're singing, we've learned them with a song, and we are singing the song and pointing to the states. So we have worked our way through the first 7 states to find them on a map. And so I'm hopeful that by the end of this block, we'll make it through all the states, and my kids will be able to identify them on a map, and I'll be happy with that. That's a good start. And then hopefully I can manage to find time. I really, really want to incorporate a small little unit study on family history, and especially where their names come from, because especially my boys all have family names. My one daughter, who's not in school yet, she has a scriptural name, so there is somewhere to talk about where her name comes from. But I really want them to know where their name comes from and why we chose their names. So I want to do a unit study on names and family history. I just need to find a way to do it that's not going to feel rushed. So it's still in the plans, it's still in the works. Maybe it won't happen until after Christmas. I don't know. But overall, I feel happy with the way this school year has started. I feel pleased, and I think it's gonna go well all in all. We still have a little work. Still a little smoothing out. It's kind of rough, but it'll get there. So if your school's been going for a little bit, I hope it's going well. Let me know. I'd love to know how your school's going. What have you had to change? Because if anything's a guarantee, it's that you've probably had to change something that you thought you had planned down to a T. Because I really thought I had everything planned out and everything was going to work. And right now, so far, nothing looks the way I planned. And luckily, I'm okay with that. Because I learned last year that I need to be okay with that. So, have a great day. I'm going to go watch soccer practice a little more closely and stop getting weird looks from everyone around me for talking to myself. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.